I'd like to call a meeting in order of April 28th at 6 p.m. If we have the Pledge of Allegiance first, we'll have, at the end, go ahead and do it, open it up, please. Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Takayama,
Present.
Commissioner LaRocca,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Present.
Vice Chair Knox,
Present.
Chair Baez.
Present.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, do we have any corrections on the last, for last two meetings? We had February 24th. I see none. Now let's go to correction for March 31st. Do we have any correction on that one?
Okay, if there aren't any corrections, you may want to consider a motion to approve the minutes first for February 24th.
I approve the meeting. Anyway. Yeah, I make my motion for 24th, February 24th one.
I second that.
Mr. City Manager, if I may please advise, because Commissioner Hernandez did not attend the February 24 meeting, I recommend that she abstain from the minutes, as well as Commissioner Takayama.
Thank you.
Yes. You guys are okay with that? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let's see.
You want a roll call for that one?
Commissioner Takayama? Abstain. Oh, okay. Okay. Commissioner LaRocca?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Aye.
Chair Baez.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, we have a motion for our January 31st meeting? Oh, March 31st, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
You have to abstain one.
I will second it.
We have a motion to approve this item by Commissioner LaRocca, seconded by Commissioner Takayama. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner LaRocca?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair LaRocca, or excuse me, Chair Baez.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Next, is any public comments? I see no public comments. Now we're going to do, we're going to regular business one, the speed bumps on Bradshaw Street in San Diego, again, couples.
Thank you very much, Chair. It is recommended that the Traffic and Safety Commission take the following actions. Approve the segment of Bradshaw Street between Via San Delaro and Via Campo for the installation of speed humps as a safety measure of speed control. Provide routine enforcement, particularly early morning hours, to cite any speeders. And allow the traffic engineer to conduct the necessary counts to monitor and evaluate the effect of speed humps on this segment of Bradshaw Street. On October 14th of 2024, Public Works Department received a request from a resident to add speed humps on Bradshaw Street between Via San Delaro and Via Campo. Staff observed that this segment of Bradshaw Street was being used by motorists to cut through as a cut-through route. And due to the lack of speed control measures such as speed humps, we observed that many of the residents were bypassing Finley, for example, in order to continue to go north on Bradshaw. The installation of speed humps, we deduced that the addition of speed humps would help reduce speeding and improve the safety and quality of life for the residents along Bradshaw Street between Via del Sandelaro and Via Campo. Under normal circumstances, each speed hump would be evaluated, and this would be brought to us based on a signed petition in which we would request 75% of the property owners or residents living along the affected area to sign the petition. But in this case, as we evaluated over the next several months, it was apparent to myself that Bradshaw Street, between this segment of Via Campo and Via Sandelaro, was to be resurfaced as part of our current fiscal year 23-24 SB1 street paving project. Speed humps were going to be reinstalled on Finley Avenue, which is a street just located 2 blocks east of this location. And so we took advantage of the economy of scales to install the additional speed humps to enhance the safety of the neighborhood. The speed humps that were added averaged between 3 and 3.5 inches at maximum height, and the travel length is 12 feet. So there are 8 criteria by which the traffic engineering department will take a look at the addition of speed humps. One of the conditions is whether or not the street is actually local residential street, in which in this case it is. One of the criteria is whether the roadway width is more than 30 feet, which it is not, so that satisfies that measure. One of the other questions is if there are any curbs that would make it difficult for drivers to see the speed humps or cushions as they push them, and there are no curves on this segment of Bradshaw. We're looking at traffic volume between 500 and 2,000 vehicles per day, and that's actually to be conducted. The speed limit is normally requested to be 30 miles per hour or less. In this case, because it is a local roadway, the prima facie speed limit is 25 miles per hour. Regarding the 85th percentile, that's also something that's going to be conducted afterwards. And then speed humps should not be installed on roadways with grades of 5% or more. And obviously, this segment of Bradshaw is very flat. It's got less than 1.5% grade. And this also is not a transit route or a primary emergency route, which satisfied this segment. So the following addresses were chosen in order to maximize and minimize the amount of speeding. So looking at 628 Bradshaw Street, that's figure number 1. You can see a picture of it there. This segment of the street was paved. Figure number 2 is 709 Bradshaw Street, looking south. Figure number 3 is 741 Bradshaw Street, looking south. Figure number 4 is 765 Bradshaw Street, looking south. And then the last 2 locations were at 813 Bradshaw Street and 841 Bradshaw Street. So this roadway segment satisfied 6 of the 8 requirements for the installation of speed humps. And in order for us to further evaluate the effectiveness of the speed humps, the traffic engineer will collect data. And as part of the evaluation, and what we will do is we will come back in 6 months or so with an update as to the speed humps effectiveness. And with that, that concludes my report.
Do any comments from the commissioners?
Yes, I have a question. So if these speed humps prove to be ineffective, well, I mean, we can't really tell if they're effective, right? We don't have a base case in terms of, I mean, the traffic study wasn't done before they were installed, right?
Correct. So traffic counts were not taken, or speed counts were not taken before the installation of the speed humps.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. In terms of the size, I went by the street and I went over the speed humps, and I realized that they seem smaller than other speed humps installed. How do these compare to what we have installed in the past?
So what we did is we mimicked the speed humps that are on Finley, because those were also replaced, and the ones on Hay as well, which is in that general vicinity of District Number 2. And we mimicked what was there existing right now. We also have the ability to put in speed humps that allow for example, for large vehicle and trucks, both for fire and police and emergency response to go through. However, the cost of those were another $10,000, give or take, per each location. And so that was like cost prohibitive.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the clarification. That's all the questions I have.
No questions for me.
I have a question. Are these speed bumps same size as the ones on Finley? Is it Finley?
Yes, sir.
They are the same size?
Yes, because we also repaved segments of Finley. We also we had to replace them.
Okay, that's the only question I had. No other questions?
None for me.
Okay, let's go ahead and I'd like to motion to approve the.
I second.
We have a motion to approve this item by Chair Baez, seconded by Vice Chair Knox. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner LaRocca?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Aye.
Chair Baez?
Yes.
This motion passes.
Okay, we'll go to number 2, which is an always stop sign study that was on Bluff and Mountain View.
Thank you, Chair. Making this presentation is Mr. Dennis Barnes, our traffic engineer.
Thank you, Director. Yes, good evening, Commissioners. The item before you, item 4, in this particular report, I presented the recommendations first, as noted, and then I'll give the background information. Receive and file the report, and to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation to deny the request for an all-way stop at the intersection and install red curb on the intersection of Bluff Road and Mountain View on the approaches as shown in the attachment B to the report. Little background information: the Public Works Department received a request for an all-way stop at this particular intersection. In your report, I presented information as outlined in the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. What is the criteria to install an all-way stop? And I won't go through each individual item here, but I presented the volumes, and the big one to note is that on the major roadway, in this case it'd be Bluff Road, in an 8-hour period, any 8 hours, the intersecting volume must be at least 300 vehicles per hour. At the same time period or the same hours on the side street, you have to have an intersecting volume of 200 vehicles. So you got 300 on the main street, Bluff Road, you got 200 on the side street. That could be PEDS vehicles or bicycles. Those are some of the volume criteria that is looked at. In terms of investigate the request, typically I researched, as well as staff, to past reports and so forth for the location. Took a look at the accident history for a 3-year period, and also looked at field review as for the visibility, any issues there. I talked about the existing conditions, posted 25 miles per hour on Bluff Road. We have stop signs on the Mountain View. In the report and figures 1, I've given an aerial view, and I'd like to just note that on that roadway of Bluff, the volume is approximately about 8,200 cars a day. Figure 2 gives you another street view of the intersection. They give a close-up view in figures 3. Figure 4, I look in the northbound direction on Bluff Road and to give you an overview of what it looks like. The bottom line also is that I presented or mentioned that to deny the request, the volume counts were, none of the warrants were met at this particular location. I've included that the report is attached, the volume report is attached to your report. Also, as well as the collision query or history there, that is also attached to your report. So to enhance the request or the visibility at the intersection, it was recommended to add additional red curb on the approaches in compliance with the new daylight law that we talked about at our last meeting, which basically is to put 20 feet or one car length of 20 feet on the approach, red curb. And as an additional enhancement, we also like to put additional 15 feet on the departure. What that does, it opens up the intersection so that motorists, bicyclists, or pedestrians have a better view of each other. And so we increase the safety by minimizing the potential for any accidents. With that in mind, that was the basis of my recommendation to deny the request for an all-way stop, but approve and add additional red curb to enhance the safety that we know by past experience will help all motorists and vehicles at that location. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do you have any questions from the commission? No question. I just have, right now, that's the main street right now, because since you can't come down Boulevard on Montebello, this thing is so packed as it is now. I mean, I could see the stop sign. I'm glad it's gonna finally be one there, because you can't cross it because cars are just going right by. But is this gonna help with the traffic coming out from right now being used from Mount Boulevard? Because you go north and south on right on Bluff.
On Bluff, yes.
Okay. Is that gonna help the traffic?
Well, it opens up by the installation of the red curb, opens it up as shown in some of the pictures I presented in the report. And what that does is it gives a motorist traveling along that roadway a better view if someone were to cross or be on the curb return to want to step out into the roadway. So the more or better visibility I can provide to the motorists, the better chances are that I'll minimize any potential accident from occurring. There were no physical buildings or such that would restrict the visibility from someone pulling out from the side street, or if you travel down in the diagrams I presented, Bluff Road, you have a wide open view. Even though I mentioned that the ADT is 8,000 cars a day in that area. So what I like to use is a rule of thumb, peak hour traffic on a street like that in the morning peak, you could take 8% of the ADT, something you may just want to hang on to in your back pocket. A PM peak hour runs about 10%. So 8,000 cars, you took 10%, that'd be 800 some cars in the peak hour. And then there's a way that traffic engineers can do a mathematical probability of what the potential would be, how many gaps there would be for an opportunity for a car from the side street, Mountain View, to make an entry into the roadway. And with that volume, there are enough gaps, there's opportunities there. The red curb will make it better by making the visibility better and keeping it so that no one parks there that would obstruct the view of the motorists. So basically providing a better or safer condition than it currently is.
Is it gonna be the stop sign with the lights around it, since it's a dark street, or it's gonna be just a stop sign with no lights around it?
Well, I'm denying the request for an all-way stop, but I have, as you know, in the past, I've put stop signs or blinker stop signs on the side streets, and those are very effective as well. But for right now, without the lack of meeting the warrant criteria and no accidents, I didn't conclude that there was a need, to install stop signs at this particular time. Now, as we monitor it, and if the conditions change or something, then we would certainly take another look at it and go back and review the intersection. Right now, I have no data that give me that there's an issue there, a problem that we could solve by putting stop signs in.
Yes, my question.
I just want a clarification. Is there red curbs now, or this is the first time we're putting the red curbs on the street? 'Cause I can't
Well,
really tell
and
by-
there is some, I tried to show in the, there's a little bit of red curb, and you can't really tell so well in figures 3, but I want to go back and refresh and install red curb as shown in Exhibit B to ensure that there is adequate red curb that complies distance-wise with the daylighting law. The daylighting law, as I mentioned earlier, is on the approach from all directions, is recommended 20 feet minimum or more, and then as what practice has been on the departure side, adding additional 15 feet as they leave the intersection. So the daylight law went into effect January 1st of this year, and that's suggested in the vehicle code, the 20 feet. But agency such as Montebello and others they have the right they can put more than that if they elect. And they could go to council and put less also if they made that decision to do so, if council approved that. But right now, we're going with the daylighting law, which is 20 feet on the approach, minimum. In some cases, if I believe that it should have a little bit more, then it'll be more than 20. Some cases I put 40 feet. So in the one corner, we'll lose a parking space there. But on the other hand, we will have better visibility so that motorists approaching the intersection will be able to see both a pedestrian, a bicyclist, or another vehicle.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
So the way I understand it is that, based on the study, no need for a 4-point stop sign, correct?
That is correct.
In lieu of the stop signs, you're increasing the red curb to give more visibility for the ones that are making a left turn, which are probably the ones who are requesting the 4-point stop sign because of the traffic and so forth.
Right, and also for the event that a pedestrian would want to cross the street, it allows better visibility for motorists traveling down the road. They would see them because it's open and no one's parked there.
Okay, thank you. Makes sense.
Anyone entertain a motion for this?
Yeah, I motion to approve.
I second it.
Roll call, please.
We have a motion to approve this item by Vice Chair Knox, seconded by Commissioner Takayama. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner LaRocca?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Aye.
Chair Bias?
Yes.
This motion passes.
So we'll go to the next one. Item 5 with an all-way stop on Greenwood in Los Angeles.
Thank you very much, Chair. Once again, Mr. Dennis Barnes, Traffic Engineer, will speak on behalf of item number 5.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. This item 5 in your agenda packet, again, the report was prepared similar to our normal way of preparing them. The recommendation, I will read first, receive and file the report for this intersection. and to approve the traffic engineer's recommendation to deny the request for an all-way stop at the intersection of Greenwood and Los Angeles Avenue, but authorize the repainting of the existing curb and pavement markings within the intersection for a distance of 100 feet in each direction. With the recommendations in mind, I'll give some background information. Again, the Public Works Department received a request for an all-way stop. The report reiterates some of the information in the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. We refer to it as the MUTCD. I won't read each individual item there, but again, the volumes are the same as the last intersection. You need 300 vehicles entering per hour in any 8 hours. During the same 8 hours, you need 200 vehicles, whether it be peds, bicyclists, traveling, and you need 200, a number of 200 in those same hours. You got 300 on the major street and 200 at the same time on the minor street. We also looked at, so investigation was done by staff and myself to relook at the geometrics. We looked at the accident history for the 3-year period to see, are there accidents occurring at the location? Your report contains an aerial view of the locations as shown in Figure 1 of the report. This one I wanted to mention out, and I emphasize it in the existing condition, that there is existing red curb in each of the corners of the intersection. So we're already complying with the daylight law. We've already taken those initial steps to enhance safety at the location, even prior to this request coming in. Your pictures or the figures in the report, Figures 2, give you a street views if you're looking in the west and east directions to give you an overview. As you can see, it's pretty wide open. There's no restrictions that block your visibility for the most part. Figures 3, you're looking at a stop sign, basically in the east directions as well as in the west. In the other direction on at Greenwood, street view, looking north gives you another perspective there of, but you'll notice in those pictures there's not as much red curb, it's just a small indication as such. So what that indicates to me, from my perspective, is there's a need for additional red curb in view of the daylighting law. The traffic volume counts are contained in the report is contained in the appendix of your report. The warrants were not satisfied, so an all-way stop is not justified based on the volume data. And in terms of accident data, there was no accident data. So a busy street out there, but yet no accidents are occurring. However, with the daylighting law, it was recommended that we enhance visibility by repainting the existing markings out there since they're faded and adding the additional red curb to meet with the daylighting requirements of a minimum of 20 feet on the approaches and 15 feet on the departure side. And again, I just repeat the highlighting of the daylighting law just for reference there in Assembly Bill 413. I've also included there in the attachment B in your report so you can see where the proposed red curb would be installed by staff, assuming approval by the commissioners, by the commission. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the commission?
What criteria did the residents use to request a 4-point stop sign?
Unfortunately, I did not have that information in my file as to what his complaint was. So I unfortunately I can't respond to that. I did not speak with the resident, and the request did not state other than the request for he wanted an all-way stop. So sometimes we don't get all the detail as much as we'd like as to what their concerns were. a lot of times the residents, if they see the nearby intersection has an all-way stop, and they perceive that maybe this one should have one as well. And that's sometimes a thought that they use to request it. It'd make it safer if we have one which is down the block, like, like that little intersection. When we get those, then our position or job is to investigate and see if we can find any data or facts that would justify staff to install one. We have to also realize and remember that when we put a stop sign in, we recommended one that is warranted because there's liability associated with putting in unwarranted devices, whether it be a stop sign or a traffic signal. So we go through the analysis to analyze the facts to make sure it is warranted, or there's a permanent vision, which is the easiest one to justify. There's a building there that cannot be moved, so that we have a basis if we ever have to go to court, there is a reason why we took that action.
Well, I believe that enhancing the markings on the curbs and the signs on the pavement should help.
Yes, and I specified like a distance of 100 feet. That will at least allow staff to refresh the markings as such. And when we put the paint down and refresh the markings, the paint has beads in them. And there's a little, like, I think a little tiny little beads that we put into the paint, and that helps reflectivity at nighttime when there is a street light there. But I mean, it helps for the motorists driving, whether it be a rainy day or whatever. So again, it enhances safety.
That's it for me.
When you were referring to the reflectivity or the visibility of the paint, were you referring to the red curb, or were you referring to the white stop marks?
I'm referring to all the markings within 100 feet in each direction.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, so.
I have a question. I mean, I travel Los Angeles Tuesday through Friday. I go to pick my grandson, take him home. We live off of Los Angeles.
No.
So I go by there. Sometimes it is hard to cross that street there, because right now it's a thoroughbred, They're going all through it. Get on Greenwood, straight to Whittier. I mean, you can tell by the street how the street's really cracking up those houses around there. So I like myself, I think the stop signs will work better. I mean, for me, because they're not racing. They're gonna have to stop and the cars cross. The ones going north and south, or to the cars going east and west. At least now they're gonna be able to stop and look. The other way, they don't, or else you're behind the truck. As you know, you got the market right there, and you have big trucks going in there and making turns there, making a right turn or left turn, and it gets really hectic. So myself, I like the four-way stop sign. I mean, for my choice.
Okay.
Chair Bias, if I could add a little bit more context. So last Traffic and Safety Commission meeting, we came in with recommendations as part of the Montebello Grade Separation Project. One of the things that we did is in this last January, the CPUC, who's the enforcement arm of the state with regards to railroad crossings, notify the city that we had issues at Vale, Maple, and Greenwood, that there were cars parked on there because as they're traveling either northbound or southbound, and they're trying to cross at Olympic and Greenwood, there just wasn't enough time. And so you see vehicles pretty much in front of like the train that's coming in the next couple of minutes. And so the addition of a stop sign at Los Angeles would probably not help that situation. When San Gabriel Valley COG, who's responsible for overseeing the construction of the Great Separation, came to me about actually, painting red curb between Los Angeles and Olympic. So that would mean that there would be 2 lanes in both directions and no parking whatsoever. So of course, I did not make that presentation because I don't believe that it's in the best interest of the community to eliminate parking. However, the addition of a four-way stop sign may back up everything again onto the railroad tracks. Just my observation that it is difficult to cross. You're right, but maybe the stop sign is not the best location due to its close proximity to the railroad tracks south of Olympic.
No other question. Anyone else? Anyone motion this?
I have just a small recommendation. If we move forward with approving it as presented by the city, and if with the enhancements, if it doesn't work, that maybe it can be revisited in the future?
Yes, you could, the commission could make a motion that you approve this, but you'd like it reevaluated in 1 month or 2 months with another evaluation and another report brought back to, we could do some additional speed counts, so we can do things of that, add some additional techniques or additional data collection and provide that to the commission to have another review of it.
I go.
Yeah, my only recommendation that maybe make it a 3-month period, so that'll be, it'll allow, I think
Yeah,
maybe a month might be a
A month or
little,
two would be not sufficient, I think
No,
3 months
3 months
is.
is good
a
enough.
report back
Yeah,
item.
report back.
Okay, so I think the motion is to approve as is, and then adding that we'll do a further analysis and report back in 3 months.
3 months, yes.
So we're open to, if anybody wants to make a motion to that.
I motion to approve as
Second
stated.
Second that.
We have a motion to approve this item by Vice Chair Knox, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez, to approve this item, but come back in 3 months to conduct the study. I will now come into roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner LaRocca?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Aye.
Chair Bias?
Yes.
This motion passes.
Okay, next thing on the agenda will be the commissioners' orals. We have one commissioner oral from
Is it
Tagama.
on here? Well, we were discussing how the 52-foot trailers come down the street, and it was prior to the train tracks. So it wasn't, now that the construction is taking place. I don't find it in here. I feel like there's so much of them. I can't even photo because it's just too many coming down the residential streets right there. And we have like small children, we have people playing. I mean, if they should happen to miss this, the turn and go onto the sidewalks, it's going to be dangerous. So I wanted to bring it to the commission's attention.
Yeah, Commissioner Takayama, thank you for bringing this to attention. Yes, we're very aware of the issues that have been caused with the grade separation process. It's a lot of moving pieces. What we can do on this matter, we've been very receptive to the request from not only your commission, but also residents in terms of these concerns. So we are working with our police department and additional enforcement, our code enforcement as well. And also we've taken on several instances of taking additional steps of working with the businesses that we are aware have been allowing their trucks to pass by. So now that you've added a specific streets that have been impacted that you're aware of, let us work through our internal process to see if we can help mitigate. But keep letting us know, because it's an ongoing issue, and really the enforcement is the best tool that we can have to prevent this from ongoing while the project goes on.
In the meantime, I think my resolution would be to have 2 visible no truck signs visible, because the ones we have are so small, and I'm pretty sure they're being ignored. I mean, they have to be much larger than they are so they can see them.
Yeah.
They should know already not to come down residential, but they do take the time to, and we're coming down, and it's huge, and our streets are getting damaged, it's It's not a good thing.
So on that note, why don't you allow us to actually assess the signage and maybe come back as a specific item to the traffic commission? Once we have more information on what's adequate, and then, we can assess based on that. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Okay, is that any more? No? Okay. I'd like to go adjourn the meeting at, looks like 6:40.
Thank you. Oh, I woke up.